I placed all of them in cryptocurrencies. I placed all of them on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on BNB, on ADA, on Chainlink, which I think I'm gonna try to maximize my positions in the US markets. Kung magpaparent kayo, especially if it's a condo, a lot of people are going out of Metro Manila. That's why demand, I think, for condos is not as strong as what it was in 2019. Okay guys, so it's the start of April and I just want to share to you some of the things that I've been practicing for a very long time as an entrepreneur and as an investor. And I want to share bits and pieces also of how I evaluate my investments and what I do during times like this. So at the end of each quarter, which kakatapos lang first quarter of 2021, I try to evaluate how I go about my investments, so that it allows me to see if I've done better, if there are things that I could also improve on for trades in the future or for investments in the future. Please remember this, that every time you invest, it won't always be a perfect game. There will be quarters, there will be months that it doesn't look as good compared to the other quarters or the other months where you started to invest. There will be times talaga that it won't be as rosy or optimistic as what you want it to be, but that's okay. That's why it's very important to assess yourself. And if there's one thing that I want you to get from all of this is, you don't have to do it every quarter, but since it's your money, it's your responsibility, you have to also take the time to evaluate and see how your money has progressed. And no matter how busy you are as a doctor, a lawyer, a seafarer, stay-at-home mom, a student, wherever you are in the world, no matter what you're doing, if it takes 1 month lang just to be able to take the time to sit down and look at your portfolio, look at your finances, look at your investments, then you do it, because there's so many things that you can unpack and you can get into all of this. It's so nice to be able to also assess yourself, because that's where you know if you're improving, if you're doing better. And the reason why I do it is not to compare myself with any other person. Whatever I would write down also, para sa akin lang naman yun eh. Kasi yun yung maganda sa stock market, yun yung maganda sa investing eh. You're only fighting against yourself eh. You don't have to compete with any other person. You don't have to compete with whoever's out there. It always has to be you just trying to compare yourself with your previous performance, so that you get to know if you're doing better or not. And the ultimate goal is for you to be moving closer and closer and closer and closer to your dreams of financial freedom. What I've realized is this: number one, in terms of allocating fresh capital, na-realize I've been a bit conservative in terms of my deployment. So when I had money coming in, depende sa opportunity na available, that's where I would deploy it. I found a lot of opportunities sa Philippine markets where I could get dividends from the preferred share offering, from the REITs that was offered, to some dividend paying stocks na sobrang laki ng binagsak that I tried to also position in them. I still consider dividend investing something that's on the safe side. Bakit mo naman sinasabi yan, Marvin? Stock market pa rin yan, may amount of risk pa rin kahit dividend investing. To me, the way I perceive at least my investments, anything that gives me a dividend, something that's not super risky. The fact na nagbibigay ng dividend siya, I'm not already speculating on what it could possibly be in the future, but I'm just looking at medyo safest, stable, may pumapasok. That was the prevalent theme na from January, February, March. And looking at it from hindsight, sabi ko sa sarili ko, what if lahat yun? I placed all of them in cryptocurrencies. I placed all of them on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, on BNB, on ADA, on Chainlink. Ganun talaga, you stick with what your plan is also. For Philippine stocks also, part of that also, no, there was also allocations that were conglomerates, which I believe will be very good still even beyond this pandemic. And ganun din mga bangko, and then ganun din yung mga essential companies. Looking at my US stocks naman, at the start of the year, no, January, all of my favorite innovative, disruptive tech stocks that I really like, they were the ones that were zooming. Then all of a sudden, a few weeks after that naman, sila yung nag-start na bumaba. Nagbago rin yung naging style ko. A lot of those stocks that have massively moved up at the start of the year, they were the ones correcting. So suddenly, when I had fresh amounts of cash, I started to look for the ones that were starting to correct massively and hit those large level of supports, and then I started to deploy capital on them. And I've mentioned it in some of the videos that the Teslas, the Squares, the PayPals, once they started to drop, I started to accumulate more of them, even for Palantir, which I know that there are some people that are researching heavily on Palantir, and there's some people who don't know a lot about Palantir, but I'm part of the group of people who believes that data analytics and the use of big data will be very, very prevalent. That's why I find Palantir very, very cool, and that's why I've been also accumulating on it, similar to how I love Tesla so much. So that's why it's nice to also have a good balanced portfolio. Kasi yung nag-hold were the ones that had really, really good brands, from Coca-Cola, Disney, P&G, Walmart, Nike, to Starbucks. Lahat ng mga medyo mature na technology companies, from Google to Amazon to Microsoft, they were doing quite well also. And if you look at also the end of March, Facebook started to push up from 250 to 300. But from a trading standpoint also, that was a very, very good tradable range. 250, 300, 250, 300, 250, 300. So I may say that all of these are all cycles that nangyari yung mga crashes before. But yung US markets, February 2020, they were hitting all-time highs eh. Nag-crash lang siya nung March 2020 once again. Then, after crashing in March 2020, lahat sila, boom, they started to push massively up. And there were some that started to move sideways already. There were some that nag-start lang sila mag-correct first quarter 2021. Hindi magbabago yung magiging technique ko pa rin. The ones that I've been bullish on at the start of the year are the ones that I'm still gonna pick up. Especially madami sa kanila nag-correct. I've already started to accumulate on them. Siguro yung natutunan ko din, no, having the opportunity to interview a lot of the eToro popular investors, is I got bits and pieces of how they would analyze portfolios. I got bits and pieces of how they would segment their money. And what I've realized is sobrang importante to look at it from a portfolio level. Super important also to analyze it and segment it, that you are really allocating different types of stocks together, so that when there are stocks that may not be doing so well, nababalanse siya ng mga stocks mo that are doing well as well. Ito yung super interesting because I love trading cryptos. There was a time when Bitcoin hit 42,000. This was at the start of the year. Then bumaba siya, nag-correct siya to 36, nag-correct siya to 33, nag-correct siya to 30. So there was a time that when it did that, I was trading 30, 33, 30, 33. Then no 28 pa, I started buying. Then I just started trading it once again, only to realize that it started to push massively higher again. What I've learned from Bitcoin is every time there's a massive correction, I'd start stacking it. I'd start putting in more, because this is what I believe in. This is just my opinion. This is what I've got from the 3 months that we had for the year, and from all of the research that I've been doing. The long-term prospects for Bitcoin, especially now that there are a lot of people accepting it even more, is that because it's so scarce, that more and more people will just use it, more and more people will just understand it. And I've been saying this in a lot of videos, that if it attacks the market cap of gold, then we could see it well on its way for the long term to 500, 600,000 US dollars. And that's something that's very interesting. It's not just something that you just trade eh. There are some of them that you're supposed to stack. And what I've realized over the past few months is I should have took advantage of opportunities where I could have earned via financing, as opposed to just looking at it from a capital appreciation perspective, and as compared to just looking at it from a trading perspective. Because there's so many tools, platforms like Binance would have given us in order for us to be able to make extra, even if we're just hodling or we're just stacking our cryptocurrencies. If I realize that holding even USDT would give me a larger rate of return as compared to putting it in a bank account, I should have just transferred them and placed them a lot into USDTs, and I would have gotten yung extra interest rate, extra high APY na binibigay nila as a rate of return. Every time I would reassess my portfolio, I would then assess ano yung magiging action plan ko for the remainder of the year, or at least for the next quarter. So what I've realized is this: since I've deployed my capital in a way that was relatively safe, what I'm gonna do for the next quarter and for the remaining 9 months of the year, I'm gonna push further to be more aggressive. Kumbaga, risk on. I'm gonna take on more risk. Even cryptocurrencies are higher right now. Every time I have fresh funds, I'm gonna deploy more capital into the cryptocurrency market. I think I'm okay in how I position for Philippine markets. Also, I'm still gonna add into them because I've positioned in dividend stocks the past quarter. I think I'm gonna try to maximize my positions in the US markets full on, and then I'm gonna maximize and put in more also in the cryptocurrency. So a larger chunk still ng fresh funds went to Philippine markets for the first quarter of 2021. I'm gonna flip it. There will still be allocations for Philippine stocks, but it will be very, very selective already. Kasi there's already naman cash there. There's already a base also there. Paano yan? Paano pag di na bumaba yung cryptocurrency market? So that would force me to position higher and just try to get some cryptos that would give me yield. In the same way also, paano yun pag bumili ka ng mataas as bumagsak? That's why I keep on adding those cash positions so that pag may bumagsak, I start to position on them. So, ganun din naman naging style ko sa cryptocurrencies, that when Bitcoin continued to go higher, I try to go for the ones in my opinion that are a bit laggards. That's why I've been spending a lot of time talking about Ethereum. Although Ethereum has pushed up and hit all-time highs, in my opinion, no, it's been lagging the performance of Bitcoin. That's why in terms of deployment over the past few weeks, I've been deploying more into Ethereum, even Cardano, even BNB compared to Bitcoin. The best way, no, for you to be able to add some more is just to figure out how to find ways to actually earn continually more. And yun yung naging motivation ko din over the past few weeks, since we're not going, I don't think, based on what's happening on the lockdowns, and I don't know if you know this, the virus, I think infections, no, we got around 15,000 that got COVID in just one day already. So I think this will be longer than what we all perceived it to be, that the lockdowns will be longer. And since kasi nung start ng year, my wife was actually planning, oh, no, saan tayo pupunta ngayong summer, saan tayo pupunta sa wedding anniversary natin, saan tayo magbabakasyon. And then we were also planning anong gagawin natin at the end of the year, saan tayo pupunta nun. So I think that's not gonna happen anytime soon. So I think the whole narrative right now, since hindi lalabas, is every time I have extra money, since wala naman kami pupuntahan, it's just gonna go toward investing. It's just gonna go, ano yung pwede kong pag-investan sa pera ko. Yung hindi ko pala na-mention dito sa lahat ng sinabi ko is I'm gonna deploy more into NFTs. I've been trying to study yung sa artworks, since prices are, I think, higher than the normal. Hindi ko alam kung binibili ko ba to ng sobrang taas tapos hindi naman talaga siya aakyat. And for Top Shot naman, I've figured out two things. I'm trying to distribute the way I look at NFTs also in a way that there's a collection side of it na mahilig talaga ako sa basketball, na gusto ko collectin yung player na to, and there's an investment side of it also that bibiling ko to because merong capital appreciation. And for those watching this, I guess this could be a tip already also for you for NFTs, is that number one, the maximum upside that you will get if you really want to be an investor is pag binili mo siya na pack. That's where you will get the most upside. Yun nga lang, there's not a big chance that sa sobrang dami na ngayon na nasa Top Shot, I think there's over 300 plus thousand accounts already worldwide for NBA Top Shot. Magagawan ka sa limited number of packs. And I think it's gonna grow even more. You won't be able to get a large allocation. Investment-wise, that's where you will get a large upside. Second, pag collector ka, I think there will be a lot of good bargains and deals that you can get also sa marketplace, na pwede ka na pumili kung sino talaga yung gusto mo. And if you're collecting naman, minsan you're there for the moment, to collect that particular moment, to have ownership, to have rights over it for a particular player that you like. So as a collector, I'd wanna get Steph Curry. As an investor, I wanna get LeBron James. Yung difference lang dun, and yung tricky part dun is, pag Steph Curry yung nakuha ko na NBA Top Shot, baka hindi ko ibenta. Pag LeBron naman, I'm okay to sell it kasi I'm not as attached as a fan. So something like that. Another thing that I'd like to mention also, what I've realized also from a real estate perspective, no, the past few weeks, we had a condo rented out. And as we had it rented out, it was lower than the price that we wanted, and our broker also advised us to go with that already since we are in the pandemic. And you can expect also na for those who are watching this, that kung magpaparent kayo, especially if it's a condo, a lot of people are going out of Metro Manila. That's why demand, I think, for condos is not as strong as what it was in 2019. Since may work from home na, and a lot of the companies have shifted na work from home forever or work from home indefinitely, or bahala ka na, as long as magawa mo yung trabaho mo, you can actually do it. And I have seen a lot of friends, and comment below if you've seen friends, sobrang daming lumipat sa La Union For some reason, a lot of people are in La Union right now, but it already goes to show, no, na people are realizing that you don't actually have to live and stay in a city for you to be able to be productive and for you to earn money. And that's what we've seen. You can manage your expectations if you own a condo, that hindi mo siya mapaparent sa ideal price na gusto mo ngayon, or you may have to wait also for a particular time frame. Even for us, no, when we started to have our condo rented out, parang we had to give more concessions also na bonus na if it was in 2019, hindi siya siguro magiging ganon. I guess my advice also for a lot of people who are asking, should I sell my property right now? Pag hindi nyo naman kailangan yung pera, now would not be the best time for you to sell your property, especially if you don't need it, and especially if you can just hold on to that particular position. Why am I saying this? You want to be selling at strength. You want to be selling na binibenta mo siya ng mataas, hindi mo siya binibenta ng mababa. Kung ngayon ka magbibenta because of panic and fear, you won't be able to get the price that you want. I mentioned this in previous videos that I stopped investing in fresh bonds, meaning every time na may bond offering in 2021, hindi ako nag-invest. Sobrang baba ng rates. It's that yung mga luma kong bonds hindi ko binibenta, they're still there because the rates that I got from that were relatively high. The last bond that I got was, I just did it for experiment purposes. Yung premium bonds, kasi I just wanted to try it. Actually mababa na rin yun, pero I just wanted to see talaga ba pwede ka manalo ng 1 million pesos pag sumali ka dito, or pwede ka manalo ng extra, I think 20,000 pesos if you tried it. So yun lang, pero everything else, all of the new bonds na pumasok, hindi. So just to clarify, lahat ng current bonds ko, wala akong binibenta doon kasi maganda naman yung cash flow na makukuha mo doon kasi mas mataas yung rate dati. Pero lahat ng mga bago, hindi ako kumuha. Pero ano nagbago also, mas naging sensitive ako to find avenues na matataas yung interest rates. That's why I went to the cryptocurrency market for those fixed income. I also went into lahat ng mga digital banking na mataas yung interest rate. I love it because ganun eh, they are massively higher than time deposits. They're massively higher than traditional banking products. Pero in a way, it's very, very liquid. I've been more sensitive right now on what I could get from those things because kesa natutulog yung pera, I want to put it into good use. Those are the things that I've learned, and those are my action items at least for the next quarter and the next 9 months of 2021. Continually reposition more into US markets, cryptocurrency markets, continue to take on more risk. Medyo madami akong pinasisyon na fresh funds for the first quarter sa Philippine market. I would still position more, but in terms of proportion, it will be lesser compared to crypto and US market. Wala masyadong bonds muna ngayon for me, but I would position into a lot of those digital high-yielding savings accounts as well. And then for the property market, if I could find good deals that could give me a return also, I would also position into that. I hope you guys got a lot from this, and let me know also ano yung pinaka learnings nyo for the past quarter as an investor. Ano yung pinaka natutunan nyo sa market or sa property or sa negosyo na ginawa nyo. Put them in the comment section below. And kung may makikita kayo na nagko-comment na naglalagay ng WhatsApp number, contact this person, contact that person, contact this to get Bitcoin, etc. etc. Hindi ako yun. Those are scammers. Uso na ngayon. Sobrang daming scammers na kinokopya nila yung name tsaka yung picture ng isang tao na may YouTube channel tapos nagko-comment sa comment section. Never ako magbibigay ng WhatsApp number sa comment section. Please remember that. So every time you see something like that, that's not me. But if you want to know more about me, in the description below, all of the things about my Zoom technical analysis sessions, the books that I've written, national bookstore best-selling books, and all of the 1,000 videos that I have in YouTube are in the description below. And if you're asking, how can I trade US markets? How can I trade Bitcoin? I have brokerages also below that you can use for you to be able to trade those markets as well. And I guess everything that you want to know about me, or if you want to send me a DM, 2 ways: Instagram at Marvin Gurmo, Patreon at Marvin Gurmo as well. So I guess that's it. I hope that this is something that's insightful. I hope that this is something that gave you tremendous and massive value, because that's all I want. I want you guys to win, and reassessing, checking your performance also allows you to make yourself better. Please remember, it's not about being perfect, it's about being profitable, and the road to profitability, the road to growth is assessing what can you do to make yourself better, because ganoon naman tayo. I've been investing for over a decade, pero I keep on trying to make myself better every single quarter, every single month, every single year, because the more you strive to be better, the more you climb the ladder of success, the closer you are also towards your dreams of financial freedom. And I really believe that in the midst of this crisis, in the midst of this pandemic, in the midst of rising coronavirus cases, that we are still in one of the greatest times to be alive, that we are still in one of the greatest times to invest, to save. And let's not wait for things to get better. Let's try to find things in our own means, in our own capacity, to take control of our own financial destiny. So that's it for now. Marvin Gurmo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, and God bless you all.